Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Carolyn Kane and I'm the chair of BostonSpedPac. Thank you for coming this evening. We have a packed agenda, so we want to get started on time so that we make sure that you have an opportunity to hear from all of our speakers this evening. The evening is focused on transition services, which applies to children 14 to 22 in BPS. So we have a number of different speakers here on different issues from the Boston Public Schools, from Impactability, from Mass Advocates for Children, from the Executive Office of Education Coordinator, the ICE program, and also a presentation by the Disability Law Center. So we're going to get started. I'm just going to ask Eileen Nash if you wanted to say a few words before we get started.
So thank you, Carolyn, thank you, John, and thank you, Diane, and the rest of you who are always here every week and every month and every day to support our kids. I want to really say it's a partnership, and I appreciate working with you, and I want to thank all the hard work that the SpedPac does, as well as you as parents do and the staff. I'm not going to take any more time up in speaking. It is a full agenda, but I am pleased to say that we will be having our BPS staff present a snapshot of where we are in BPS now as far as transitional services for our students. So I'm going to introduce, if that's okay now, Erica Sandlin, who is our transitions director, and also Helen Murphy, who actually is a program director for our high schools and has worked with a lot of transitional components throughout the years just because of her roles in the high school. So I want to say thank you and take it away.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. So we want to present an overview of what BPS considers to be transition services. Transition is a collaborative effort. It's an ongoing process across multiple school years. All students have meaningful and effective transition services and appropriate instructional, career, and work-related community-based experiences. Transition serves all students beginning 14 through 22. That's very important. Transition includes a transition plan that's developed by the IEP team, which identifies each student's interests and goals. The transition team considers the individual student's need and aligns it in the IEP. In our school year in 2014, we have 4,126 Boston Public Schools students aged 14 to 22 who are eligible for transition services.
Okay, professional development. Coordinators have participated in the following workshop. There was a 6.5 hours on IDEA laws, IEP goal writing, and reviewing their transition plan form with an additional 1.5 tutorial. Writing transition planning forms with coordinators grouped according to an assessment of their work. Writing transitional planning forms with a focus on how to individualize according to interest and needs. Tools for transition, an overview was given by the Strive staff. The Summer Institute, which was a 2.5-day institute, preparing students for post-secondary education. It was attended by 65 coordinators and related service providers. And travel training, which was attended by 48 teachers and 38 paraprofessionals, and that was a 19-hour course for them. Okay? What are our tools? Formal assessments, career cruising. It's an online career exploration based on personal interest. It can be administered by teachers or guidance counselors, and it's appropriate for all students. Tools for transition, career exploration, assessment designed by special educators. It meets IDEA's transition assessment requirements. It's appropriate for all students, but it's appropriate for students who read below 4th grade or are non-readers as well. And 102 teachers have been trained in using that assessment. Standard assessments that we incorporate as well would be MCAS, PSAT, SAT, and ACTs.
So informal assessments are used to determine a student's self-determination skill and their interest inventories. And some of the interest inventories and self-determinations that we use is the ZARO program. And the ZARO program is a self-determination curriculum that can be used for either middle school to high school, and it can be used for for students to cross from 14 to 22. We also have Future Quest. Future Quest is a piloted program right now that's being piloted at one middle school, but next year it's going to be piloted at 3 schools. And it's a self-determination curriculum that is a web-based curriculum through the Institute for Community Inclusion. And we also have the CAPE. And the CAPE is a assessment that takes a look at the students' enjoyment and the students' social life. And that is the curriculum that can be used as well for students 14 to 22, but really we look at it for students who are in the middle school. That's a really great assessment for us to use to understand, you know, what social aspects that student comes with and what they're doing with their family. We also have student and parent interviews and surveys that we use to take a look at those assessments. We do workplace, we use the workplaces, and we do performance evaluation, progress reports, and attendance records. School-based informal assessments can include progress reports, attendance records, transcripts, disciplinary, and report cards.
Transition and IEP team process. Students are a very integral part of the transition planning process. The student is a member of the IEP team that develops his or her transition plan. Appropriate representatives or any participating agency is invited to the IEP meeting with the agreement of the parent or student. The team develops appropriate post-secondary measurable goals that are based on age-appropriate transition assessments and updated annually.
So we look at transition services for students 14 to 17-year-olds at Boston Public Schools. Looking again at the self-determination curriculum, we have the Choice Maker self-determination curriculum. We have 5 bold steps. We also have the life-centered educational curriculum that's going to be used this year at the ESY program through Strive. We have Future Quest, we just mentioned that the last couple of slides, that ICI has developed. And the CAPE, which is the Children Assessment curriculum that takes a look again at the social aspects of their life. For students who are 18 to 22-year-olds, it's important that when we talk about development and transition, we look at updating and developing their IEP, their individual transition plan, and that's through DDS. Now, it's important to know that if DDS is a lead agency, they will do the individual transition plan. If they're not the lead agency, Mass Rehab would probably be the lead agency, and they would do something called an individual plan for employment. We also have available Project Search. It's a partnership between Boston Public School and Partners Healthcare. Project Pathways to Career is a mentoring program that is incorporated for large corporations. So we take students and we partner them with companies, and they mentor our students through that process of career development. The Strive School to Work program and Summer Exploratory program, the ICE program, Inclusive Concurrent Enrollment, Impactability, which is a self-determination, advocacy, safety, and violence prevention. They're here tonight, and they'll be speaking more about that. BYF, Boston Youth Fund, which is a city-run summer job program. The Youth Leadership Forum, many of the parents I've met with, I talk a lot about the Youth Leadership Forum. It's the governor runs the Youth Leadership Forum, which is an opportunity for the youth to learn about leadership in their community. And also the Youth Leadership Network. The Youth Leadership Network is out of the Easter Seals, and it offers students an opportunity to become active members in their community, understanding advocacy, participating, with other young adults their age, and learning about civic and civil responsibilities.
Okay, so we've included this slide for you. We're not going to read it to you. There's a lot of information there, but we want you to have, it's in your packet, so we wanted you to have it. It's something that it gives you somewhat of a guideline as a student in the 8th grade, what should be happening at that point in time. 9th grade, because transition is not a stagnant process. It's changing as we get more information about the student, their likes, their dislikes, and as their getting older and moving closer to transitioning out of school, you know, we want to have a different focus. So this is just to give you an overview of like some of the things that will be going on, starting in the 8th grade and sometimes even sooner. Okay, so this gives you some idea of a continuum, and we'll continue to develop this and add other things as well. Okay?
So one of the things I just wanted to summarize, this was a lot of information, and we did it very quickly because there is going to be a lot of presentations tonight. But one of the key takeaways that I hope you have with this is that this is really based on age. So when we heard maybe 8th grade, maybe low, it's 14. Wherever the child is at 14, that's when the transitional plans will begin. When you have questions, you should ask your questions at the school with your coordinator and at the IEP team. That's going to be really where the anchor is for you to understand this a little bit more deeply. If you have a child that's 14 years or older, you should be having a transitional plan done every year. So if you don't, then you need to let your coordinator know, and then you need to let the principal of your school know to say, hey, I need a transitional plan. So if you have any questions, that's the first place to go to get your questions answered. And so you can read your PowerPoint for some of the more details, and then we're lucky tonight to have other presenters here that will go deeper into the transitional services.
Thank you, Eileen. So we are at the end of tonight having a presentation on, you know, your rights and the district's responsibilities under the law about transition services. As Eileen said, it starts at age 14. So what that means is if you have an IEP meeting and during that IEP period, which covers a year, your child will be turning 14 years of age. The information that BPS gave you tonight includes information on what assessments are currently available in BPS and what programs they currently have. So it's really for you to hold on to and use that information to inform yourself either currently or as your child ages into the age of 14. And again, it's the IEP period during which your child turns 14, and the Disability Law Center will get into explaining that in much more detail. But I wanted you to know that BPS's information is so that you have a takeaway to know what are the current assessments, because you can't develop a comprehensive transition plan unless you've done appropriate assessments. It's based on your child's interests and their preferences, but it also needs to be realistic with regard to what your child's current abilities are, and that's what we find out from assessments. So take that information, it tells you what assessments are available and also what the current programs are. If you need more information on what the current programs are, you can ask your individual SPED coordinator, or you can call the Office of Special Education and we can have someone address those issues, either Erica or someone from the transition staff, okay?